Hey, it's Deemery Love, and I'm back, and I'm gonna talk more about the Vampire Diaries. Season 7 just ended, but I'm still not over it, so I'm still gonna talk about it. In today's video, I'm discussing one of the biggest aspects of being a part of the Vampire Diaries fandom: shipping. Shipping has spread worldwide. Shipping is an epidemic. It's a problem. It's fun to do. It's stressful. I don't think any other show causes as much rabid shipping as Vampire Diaries. Vampire Diaries is basically a group of supernatural, very beautiful people all hooking up with each other. Okay, that's a very simplistic way of describing the show. It's so much more than that. It just takes over some people's minds and they can't think about anything else but Stelena, Delena, and Sterilline. That's like all they talk about. It's like, do you know that there's, people dying? Well, not really. There's people almost dying, and there's all this whole grand vampire mythology and all this other shit going on too. The fact of the matter is that the Vampire Diaries was kind of built on shipping, even if the writers like to pretend it wasn't. A huge part of the reason why people watched it is because they wanted certain characters to hook up and they wanted to see if they would eventually hook up. And I think that's why it became so popular. Anyway, let's really talk about it. Season 1, episode 1, introduced probably one of my favorite TV ships ever, and that's Stelena. Stelena was beautiful. Stelena was sweet. Stelena was very problematic and toxic at times. Just like every single other ship on this show, they have all been very toxic in some way or another. By episode 3, I was on the Stefan and Elena train. I was like, they're very cute together. I like this. I want it to work. Elena and Stefan, like, come on now. Like, just look at them. They're perfect. If this was a real high school couple, like, they would be the it couple of high school. They would rule that place. It was just the ship that the Vampire Diaries was built on. Obviously, Damon was a huge aspect of it in the whole love triangle. Damon pretended not to like Elena for a lot of season 1.
I mean this sincerely. I hope Elena dies.
But, people started to see right through it, and she was like the only person he sort of had a soft spot for. I know it's hard to remember that Damon was once a villain. I think the episode where the whole Delena craze started to build was the Miss Mystic Falls episode in season 1, when Stefan was like being a crazy blood addict and stealing the pageant contestants, and he was just being really weird and stupid. He left Elena hanging when he was supposed to be her dance partner, and Damon came to the rescue and stepped in so she wouldn't be embarrassed, and they danced together. And they were, dancing and giving each other these sexy looks, and I think that's when people, if they hadn't before, were really like, oh my god, yes, like this, look at the chemistry, look at the way that she's looking at her. She wants her piece of Damon. And then later on in season 6, Elena said that was the first time she realized that Damon was sexy, which is ridiculous. Yes, Damon was an asshole, and he was annoying, and he was just ruining things for you and Stefan, but you still have eyes. You can still look at that man and tell that he's absolutely gorgeous. So don't give me that, Elena. Damon has undoubtedly hooked up with the most women on this show. It's starting with Katherine, Caroline. He even hooked up with Lexi and then left her on a roof to die because he's Damon and he had no humanity. Isabel, Elena's mom. Damon hooked up with Elena's mom. Let's not ever forget that. Her birth mother. There was Rose, Andy, Rebecca, and Elena. And even in season 7, Crystal with the K. He's been around town and back again. I should say around the world. I did not ship Damon and Elena. I'm sorry. I was too invested into Stefan and Elena and their relationship and their storyline. And I was just bugged about Damon interfering. You and Stefan are repairing relationship now. Stefan has done so many things to save Damon, giving himself over to Klaus so Klaus would heal Damon from the werewolf bite and all this stuff. And then during all that time, Stefan is away, sacrificed his relationship with Elena, even though he was so deeply in love with her, for his brother. And Damon repays him by falling in love with her after your brother has done so much for you. At what point are you like, let me just take a break from her? Let me just fall back a little bit. I know the brothers had made a pact before, like, whoever she chooses, the other one has to leave town. But it's like, Damon, why would you think for a second that she would choose you? I know, to me, it just seemed so improbable because of the love that she had for Stefan. She wasn't seeing anybody else. She said it out her own mouth so many times. Like, I really didn't think Delena would happen because of this.
No, Damon, I care about you. Listen to me, I care about you. I do, but I love Stefan. It's always gonna be Stefan.
In this,
I love him, Damon. He came into my life at a time when I needed someone, and I fell for him instantly. No matter what I feel for you, I never unfell for him.
Hey, I get it. Stefan. It's always gonna be Stefan.
in this.
I had to choose, and I picked you. Because I love you. No matter what happens, it's the best choice I ever made.
She rejected Damon over and over again. She told him so many times, you're my friend, I care about you, but I love Stefan. I'm going to be with him. What is it going to take for you to understand? If I was Elena, I would be like afraid that he would go fatal attraction on me, especially after he killed Jeremy because she wouldn't kiss him. And I understand it wasn't solely because of that, because he was messed up because Katherine had just rejected him right before, and he was actively trying to kill Caroline for so long, and him and Caroline had this weird rapey type of relationship. I know that's a strong word, it's debatable if that's what it was, but it just really came off that way. Damon and Caroline was a thing. It was a very long time ago, and I know people forget. And Damon used her as his personal blood bag and for like hooking up, and then he was planning on killing her. Caroline got with Damon out of retaliation of Stefan rejecting her and this jealousy that she was feeling for Elena, and everybody always falling in love with Elena. It still trips me out that Caroline is a thing now, because he straight up told her,
you and me, it's not gonna happen.
He wasn't into her at all. I don't think Caroline was Stefan's type. Back to Stelena and Delena. Stefan, he angered me so much in season 3, especially when he turned off his humanity. It reminded me of Buffy and Angel in season 2, when Angel lost his soul after him and Buffy were intimate for the first time, and that was so heartbreaking. And it did remind me of that, and I did really start to worry for them when this happened. That really put a panic in me, and I was like, oh no, this is it. Like, most epic motel kiss ever. Like the very same episode or next episode, Damon was trying to be all touchy-feely with her, and she was like, and he's like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, we're not doing that. He's like, you were so down for it a minute ago. If your brother hadn't walked in, we probably would have got it on right against the ice machine. Now you're acting brand new. She still went back to Stefan because she knew that's where her heart was, and she was following her heart. Season 3 finale, she ultimately chose Stefan. I thought that was what needed to be done. It's clear that this transition into vampire triggered this Delena relationship. She had feelings for him as a human. They were not strong enough for her to leave Stefan for Damon. And she became a vampire, and the feelings that she already had were magnified. Damon was showing her things that Stefan wasn't. Stefan wanted human Elena back. He was just doing what he thought was best for her. He was trying to get her back to human state, and I think Elena was insulted by that to a certain degree. She was like, this is who I am now. Why can't you just accept me for who I am now? I want to drink human blood. Just be there for me and try to help me to get used to this new lifestyle, so desperately trying to get me back to the girl I was. I'm not that girl anymore. You can't accept that, then you can't really accept me. Damon loved the fact that Elena was a vampire and they could feed and party, they're sexy together. He was really feeling that, and I think he really saw that as his opportunity to get in there. It worked. Stefan's like, you know, you wouldn't feel like this if you were a human. And Elena was like, I don't care, I'm not human. And Damon and Elena happened.
I love you, Damon. I love you.
It was an on and off journey of Delena from season 4 to 6. No matter what obstacles were put in front of this couple, they overcame them and came back together. Elena turned off her humanity, the sire bond. They worked it out, and I guess her turning off her humanity switch severed the sire bond. So when she came back to being herself, her love with Damon was just pure and real. Damon died at the end of season 5, and Elena was going nuts in season 6 and taking drugs to hallucinate him and eating people and all this other stuff. So she decides, even though she knew it was a possibility that he would come back, she decides to have Alaric, the original vampire, compel away her memories. Why would you do that? It's just so unfair, and it was such an insult to his memory for you to want to take away all those memories that you guys had and remember him as a monster. You want to just remember Damon as a monster and not the man that loved you unconditionally. You're not this out of control that you can't rein it in. Like, you're not even trying to control. It was just all bullcrap to me, her whole it makes me dangerous, so just take it away. That was all bullcrap to me, and I didn't like it. It just further pissed me off when Bonnie sacrificed herself so Damon could come home to Elena and be with his girl, and he comes back and she's avoiding him. And I'm just like, girl, if you don't open that effing door and have a real conversation with him, I swear. It transitioned and he was able to win her back without the memories. She made the whole speech.
The night I died, Matt was driving me back to him. And yet I found my way back to you. Damon, I somehow always find my way back to you.
Kai's evil self put her in a sleeping beauty spell, and now she won't wake up until Bonnie dies. At some point, he tried to move on from her. If he does, it's going to take a long time. I don't think it'll take 80 years. I know people want him to be a monk until Elena wakes up, but it's like they were together for like a year and a half, and they loved each other, yes, but is it really going to take anyone on planet Earth 60 years to get over someone that they had a year-long relationship with, or a 2-year-long relationship with? It's just not realistic. Even if Damon loved Elena more than any other person has loved any other person in this entire world combined, which people like to believe of these two, I still just don't think it's going to take 60 years to get over her to the point that he can't ever fall for somebody else. I just want him to see other women, and like a good woman, not just like Crystal with a K type of girls. Moving on to another one of the lovely Vampire Diaries leading ladies, Miss Caroline Forbes. She, I think, out of the girls, has had the most love interest. First there was Damon, then there was Matt, then there was Tyler, then there was Klaus, then there was Jesse, then there was Enzo, and now there's Stefan. And now I guess they're supposed to be the epic love story of Vampire Diaries. You can let me know how you feel about that. When the show kicked off, Elena and Matt had broken up, and Matt was still heartbroken. Caroline and Matt hooked up for a little while, and they were kind of cute and very blonde, and they made sense as a couple to me. You know, head cheerleader, star football player, they made sense. Matt's best friend Tyler stepped into the picture. And because, you know, Vampire Diaries got love triangles just everywhere. Now, Tyler stole Caroline away from Matt, and Klaus attempted to steal Caroline away from Tyler. Now, Caroline was a huge thing. It was a huge deal. So many people wanted it. It was very compelling to watch someone as hard and evil as Klaus kind of just melt for Caroline. So it was very interesting. But me personally, you know, I don't mean to go against the grain. It's just my feelings watching the show. I was a Caroline and Tyler shipper. It was the episode when he first transitioned into a werewolf that did it for me. She was there for him during probably was the toughest time of his entire life, all the way up until when his mom died. He was going through an excruciating, painful process, and she stayed with him the entire time, and she held him, and she was there for him. And that was all at the risk of him biting her and killing her. He didn't know that was a possibility, but she did, and she stayed there anyway. And that to me just said, somebody screaming outside. It just said a lot. I was like, she cares for him, and this needs to happen. I thought Caroline made Tyler better as a person. If you remember in season 1, he was a jackass. He was a jackass to Vicky and Jeremy, and Caroline was like mean girl type in season 1 too. And they got together as vampire and werewolf, and they just changed. And then, you know, here comes Klaus, just trying to be all alpha. At the time, I'm just like, no, Klaus, get away from Caroline. Like, you're going to mess up my ship. But, you know, when I rewatched episodes and looking back at it, and I can absolutely understand why people fall in love with Klaus and Caroline. There's a possibility that she could have changed him for the better, but I just don't see that happening, at least for not a very long time, when someone's been so evil for 1,000 years. But he did tell her that I will wait for you. I don't think he has waited for her, and I'm pretty sure he's fallen in love with somebody else since then, because that's what happened. He gave her the Tyler is your first love, I intend to be your last, and he walked away, which is very mature of him, and something that I wish Damon would have done at some point in the first 3 seasons. And then comes season 5, he reappears for like all of an hour, or at least long enough for him and Caroline to have sex in the woods and then never see each other again.
I will walk away, and I will never come back. I promise.
I don't understand. Anyone who hardcore ships Caroline, can you just please tell me how you guys felt about this? To see them kiss for the first time and admit that they want each other, that would be great. But then it's followed by, I never want to see you again. What? No, that's no good. That's not what we want. That's not what they want. What are you talking about? All of this for them to basically resort to a one-night stand. It was kind of crazy to see them finally hook up. But, you know, I still have problems with it because I wanted her to work things out with Tyler. And I just knew once that happened, okay, her and Tyler is not about to be buddy-buddy. And it was true. He was pissed off. He's like, how could you sleep with the man that killed my mother and claim that you love me? Caroline and Tyler, I think throughout season 6, barely spoke. He came to her house for Thanksgiving with his new girlfriend, and she could give a F less. And don't you remember that these two were deeply in love with each other? He was her first real love, and now they're hardly friends. And when they speak to each other, you just don't see any of that history there. So that makes me a little sad. Caroline had a love interest in Jesse for a very short period of time until Elena killed him for Damon. Jesse was hot, but I didn't see the chemistry. He was just kind of brought in, I think, to introduce the whole Augustine vampire storyline, which would ultimately introduce us to Enzo, who come season 6 would become yet another love interest for Caroline. A little bit more chemistry there than what she had with Jesse, but it still wasn't explosive. Enzo had a crush on her. It may have been unrequited. It didn't work out because
she hates you because she doesn't hate you at all.
So are you still talking?
She's got a thing for you, mate.
Stefan and Caroline started to build a friendship in season 2 when she became a vampire, and he was trying to help her make the adjustment. At some point in season 5, her feelings for Stefan starts to transition a little, and he just wasn't seeing it at all. He was hooking up with Katherine and trying to get over Elena being with Damon. She turned off her humanity after her mom died. She manipulated him into turning off his humanity, and then that was the first time that they slept together. Stefan turned his humanity back on when he saw his mother. He was able to get her to turn her humanity back on too, and she decided like she wanted space from him or whatever, and he told her,
I'll wait. And when you're ready for me,
I will be ready for you.
I just don't know what it is about them that I can't just love them as a couple. I would prefer Stefan to be with Caroline though than any other woman that's on the show at this point, including Miss Valerie. They knew each other for one day and they hooked up and never saw each other again for centuries. So I'm just not buying that it was like this grand epic type of love and that he always thought about her for years to come. Like, he had relationships with other women after her. He fell in love with Katherine. He had a relationship with Rebecca in the 30s. And then he fell in love with Elena and had this deep, connection with her. He wasn't thinking about Valerie. A real random ship, but I guess they were kind of forced to do it, was Caroline and Alaric. Now, Candace Acola, who plays Caroline, got pregnant in real life, so they had to find a way to work it into the storyline. Alaric, her former high school teacher and college professor, he ends up with him. And Alaric thought he had lost his wife and his children. It turned out that the heretics had implanted Joe's babies into Caroline. Stefan runs off with Valerie because he's on a run from a vampire huntress. So Caroline and Alaric settle down together to raise the babies, and they decide to get married. Stefan comes back and he's like, your engagement is a sham. And Alaric's like, it's none of your business. Caroline was very angry with Stefan coming back, but she still loved him. She was not in love with Alaric. He was in love with her. She was not in love with him. They break up and she immediately runs off to Stefan and they start making out. And Alaric's like right outside. I miss Alaric and Jenna. I thought that was such a cute couple and they made so much sense together. Then we have my homegirl Bonnie, Miss Bonnie Bennett. She's had mostly one love interest throughout the show, and that's Jeremy, Elena's little brother Jeremy. They got together in season 2. This ship bored me to tears. I just did not ship Jeremy whatsoever. They just happened out of nowhere, and I was like, what? She likes him? What? I don't know if they're supposed to be a year or 2 years apart, but it's like on a maturity level, Bonnie is so much older than Jeremy. She fell in love with him. He died. She brought him back to life. She went against nature and the witches, her ancestors, everything to bring him back to life. The thank you she gets is Jeremy cheating on her with Anna, his ghost ex-girlfriend. After everything she's done for you, you don't even have the maturity to break up with her first. And do you really think you're going to have a relationship with a ghost? It turned out Anna didn't even really want a relationship with Jeremy. She just wanted to get her mother back and then go into peace with her or whatever like that. So she came back and ruined their relationship and then just bounced. Okay, Jeremy and Bonnie are over. Let's bring in a new interesting love interest for Bonnie. Please just have her move on. They did bring in a new interest for Bonnie, and it was Jamie, her mom's stepson or something like that, which is already weird in itself. I know they're not blood related, but it's just already kind of weird because it's like her mom's children are getting together. It was just all so corny. Elena and Caroline, they're painted as the beautiful woman that can make the head turning entrance whenever they walk in the room. The most foul, evil, badass vampires and supernaturals on the planet that should be heartless will fall for Elena and Caroline, and they'll change for them. And Bonnie has never been that for like anyone for a very long time, and I just didn't understand it. I was like, why does everyone and their father fall in love with Caroline? And then Bonnie just gets Jeremy, who doesn't even love her enough to be faithful. And even when she died, his response is like the first 2 months after her death was to sleep with everyone. I'm not saying that Jeremy didn't love Bonnie. I know he did because they said he did. But he never really honored that relationship the way it deserved to be honored, especially when she died for him. Jeremy and Bonnie lasted quite a long time. She lost her virginity to him, and then she died again in season 5. She died with Damon. Now this is kind of getting into non-canon ships. Now the Bonnie and Damon ship is real. And when I say that, I mean fandom-wise. Bamon has to be one of the most polarizing ships on the show, and it just gets people so up in arms, which is incredible because they're not even canon. Just real quick, for the people who are still in denial about Bonnie and Damon being best friends.
You knew that the evil, selfish Damon Salvatore would give up the love of his life to save her best friend.
I knew that the love of my life would stand by his best friend, even if it meant having to live without me for a little while.
You're my best friend. And that if anything ever happened to you, I would lose my mind.
Damon,
It's me. I'm your best friend. And when Alaric heads to Dallas, I might be your only friend.
You're right, Bonnie. You are my best friend.
I mean, I don't know how many more ways this show can say it and put it for people to just understand that, yes, Alaric and Damon are friends. They're best friends, whatever. But Bonnie and Damon are also best friends. I've been on the Bonnie and Damon train since basically like season 1. And they've had such an up and down roller coaster of a relationship or friendship or whatever throughout the years. I just appreciated the way Bonnie challenged him and put him in his place. She would just like remind him like, I'm not any of these other like little frail human girls that you're used to messing with. You can't compel me. You can't scare me. I'm a witch. You're just dealing with a different breed. I definitely believe Bonnie didn't like Damon more than Damon didn't like Bonnie. I think Damon didn't like Bonnie because Bonnie didn't like him. She don't like me, well, I'm being asked to her even more because she don't like me. That's just the way it always came off to me, because he did try repeatedly to get on her good side.
What do you want from me?
I think we need a fresh start.
I'm out of here.
Please give me another chance. I want to say something to you.
Just leave me alone.
Thank you. You and me? Cultures.
No.
And she was just like, nope, not gonna happen, not gonna happen, not gonna happen. So he was just like, all right, well, F you then. They kept getting thrown together to work together on things. The first time he confronted her outside of her school, and he was like,
B, I wish you no harm. Believe it or not, Bonnie, I want to protect you.
and he was like touching her hair and all this stuff. Like he was trying to put fear in her heart or whatever like that. But it was just something about that scene together. I just saw something. And especially knowing that the nature of the relationship in the books, I thought maybe possibly, maybe they're going to build to the whole Bonnie and Damon thing. That would be very cool to see with these two actors. For whatever reason, they decided not to go that route. I really started to ship them in season 2 when they danced together.
Careful, Damon. I start to think you actually care.
I was just like, is anyone else seeing what I'm seeing? Look at them. They're cute. That could potentially be something. It could potentially be something great with the witch and the vampire who used to hate each other and that grown into lust or love, and I don't know. If Bamon ever was to happen, that would be the freaking slow burn of this century.
You, witch, are gonna get over yourself and help us.
Yeah, he meant that as a question with a please on the end.
Absolutely.
So as much as Damon harassed Bonnie, Elena, his girlfriend, saw through that. And in season 4, when they all left the island after Jeremy died and they couldn't find Bonnie, Damon was the one to stay behind and look for her. And usually that would be a Stefan move. But Damon felt compelled to do it at that time. Matt was talking to Elena and he was like,
Doesn't he hate her?
He doesn't hate her. I think he actually kind of loves her.
She saw that he actually cared for the little witch, or Judgy as he called her. He saw her, he was so happy that she was okay, that he hugged her. And they had never had any kind of interaction like that ever. So I just really thought that was sweet. Bonnie and Damon's relationship changed during season 6. I think dying with someone and being stuck with them and only them for 4 months straight, day in and day out, will do that to anybody. You're either gonna kill each other.
Give me a ring. All I've heard you say is that you have no hope and that this is your hell. So if it's so bad, why don't you just end it?
Or you're gonna fall in love.
I'm sure there are about 1 billion people you'd rather be here with.
Not exactly.
That Bonnie and Damon reunion in 6:15, when she finally made it back to the living world, and the first person she went to see was Damon. She went straight to Damon and made him pancakes. It was so cute. And then the way Damon's eyes lit up. And she ran into his arms and she jumped on him. She wrapped her legs around him and they just held on to each other so tight. It was my favorite Vampire Diaries moment of season 6, possibly of the entire series, when it comes to like happy moments. I used to say like, listen, I just need them to hug each other. I need them to kiss at least once. I need them to confess that they love each other. And in a way, I've gotten all of that. I got a Bamon kiss. It was devastating at the time because it kind of seemed like he was leaving her for dead. Even though I was like, nah, he's not going to leave her for dead. And he did not. And then Damon told her in 7/21 that he loved her. And it was the first time he ever said it.
I need you to hear me. I admire you. I believe in you. And I love you.
And of course, the writers couldn't just let that speak for itself. We know they're not romantic, so you don't have to follow it up with
The same way Elena loved you.
that was an unnecessary line. She still hasn't said it back. She told him she was forgiven, but she still hasn't said I love you back. So I'm hoping season 8, Bonnie will be able to tell him that. And what's in that letter? I mean, they were talking about that letter a lot in the last part of this season, and we still don't know what's in it. Because I know what he recited to her on the porch when he said all those mean things to try to get her to wake up, whatever. I know that's not what was really in the letter, so I want to know what was in it. Please, can we talk about that? During that time while he was away, Bonnie fell for Enzo. I mean, I've read fan fiction about these two, but I never thought they would become canon, especially because I knew Enzo had feelings for Caroline, and then he had feelings for Lily. I just didn't expect it. I don't hate it. I want Bamon to happen, but until then, I don't want Bonnie to just be single. Bonnie was single for like 2 years or something. She's an independent woman. She can stand on her own, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve to be loved and have this epic love like Elena and Caroline have had multiple times. I appreciated her having someone to love her like that.
I have always wanted to be loved by someone in the way that you loved me.
You know, Bonnie and Enzo didn't have the best start.
Go get on to the fun bit.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the one who gets people to do things they don't want to do.
Are your lies worth Bonnie's life?
Bonnie!
Were you just hoping the darkness would come take me before the awful truth came out?
Answer me!
But it grew and became something else. She saw the good in him. Unfortunately, Bonnie has lost Enzo and Damon. So the question is, are they going to be able to get them back? These are the two people that was closest to Bonnie. These men were her world. I know I've said before that I didn't believe Enzo and Bonnie were going to last. I don't know if this whole evil thing is going to contribute to that. And I feel very bad for her right now because Caroline has her man and Bonnie's alone again. Coming to the end of this video here. It's gone on way too long anyway, but I can talk about ships all day. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know who you ship, why you ship it, who you don't ship. How do you feel about all the love stories, where they're at this point in the show? And what do you think is going to happen with Bonnie and Enzo and Stefan and Caroline come season 8? Thank you so much for watching. This is D. Marie Love. Bye-bye.